Right. All right, happy Monday, Instagram. I'm going to be balancing between you and Facebook Live. So let's see how this works. All right. So I wanted to speak a little bit and share from my personal experiences when life goes sideways or flips upside down. Some things hey, Angelina, look, I'm wearing the dress you got me for my birthday years ago. Anyway, so yes, I wanted to share some things that I have found works for me to stay in a stable place in my mind, as well as my emotions when life is going either really sideways or flipping upside down. I did make a post a couple weeks ago. Thanks. Yeah, it's going strong, Angelina. Still looks like new. So I am going to share what's worked for me, because honestly, there's a lot of things that are happening in the world, and I feel like every day something new is happening. And I just saw, New York City, for example. I'm traveling a little bit and moving around, so I'm not in New York at the moment, but I saw that New York City is getting some flood warnings, right? So that could, if your apartment or your home got flooded, right? God forbid, or like things are happening all over the place, right? That can just make our life just shift in an unexpected way. And so I think it's really important that we prepare in advance for those times where things may not work out. Hey, Rocky and Brandon. When things may not work out as we've expected, and how do we stay calm? I mean, the reality is that when something really, traumatic or unexpected happens, right? When we have a life crisis, the reality is there is going to be, maybe a shock, or you're going to have a moment where you're going, what's happening to me, right? And you may have some panic, but you want to bring yourself back into, a stable place so that you can, at the end of it, come out stronger and not, broken and a mess. So these are things that I have found work for me. And so I feel pretty strongly about it. So I'm going to share. So the first thing that I would recommend is choosing a word. Pick a word and stick with it. Pick a word that you can focus on. It could be anything from like fearless to loving to forgiving. It would depend on the situation, what it is that you are in need of. It could even be like the word calm, whatever it happens to be, but picking a word and focusing on it. And that way, when you start to have moments where you are feeling anxious, or you're getting into a little bit of a panic mode, you can kind of bring your mind back and just remind yourself, okay, Beth, I am calm. And remind yourself and talk to yourself and repeat that word, and tell yourself that. So focusing on that. Then my next thing that has really worked for me in prayer is picking a verse. This is something that would again depend, just like the word would depend on what the situation is that you're choosing to focus on. It would depend on your situation. So say you had an unexpected diagnosis from your doctor, that things weren't looking good for whatever reason in your health, right? So you would look, this is from a Christian perspective, of course, but you would look in the Bible, you would find promises that God has made about health and healing. And then you would hold him to that. You would remind him about what his word says, what he promises, okay? So this is in addition to, so when you're having, your freak out moment, or you're feeling like you might be getting ready to go into a dark rabbit hole, spiraling down, right? You can focus on that word, and then, hey, Damien, nice to see you. And you can focus on that word and hold on to that verse and not let it go. And you may not see results right away. And I think that's one thing that people give up on. I know it's, for me, sometimes discouraging, sometimes tempting to give up, right? I don't see results after a week or two. It may take, I'll just give you all a heads up, it may not be instant. It may take a week, or sometimes that's it. But it also could take like a month. It could take 6 months. It could take a year, right? It depends on what that situation is. It depends on so many different things. But the fact is, staying the course and not giving up. And I feel like a lot of times people give up on things. So, you know, if they're waiting for some sort of healing or something to change, right? And it doesn't happen instantly, then the temptation is, oh, my prayer didn't work, or, oh, well, you know, staying to this word is not working for me, and and just giving up, and, you know, then just, you know, letting depression or the anxiety or whatever it happens to be, the anger, whatever it happens to be, to kind of take root in your life. And what is important to avoid is avoid having like the negative emotions, the negative impacts taking root in our lives and living there for like the next 10 years, the next 20 years, right? The last thing we want to be is 90-year-old people walking around angry, bitter, and broken from something that happened to us 40 years ago or 50 years ago or whatever, because we gave up on that thing that we were holding on to. So stay the course, hold the line. It's sometimes, you know, sometimes going to take some time before, you know, you see those things work out. My tip number 3, do something normal. Now, I feel like normal is being overused these days. Normal is something that, you know, everyone's talking about. So, you know, whatever normal looks like to you. It could be, you know, calling up a friend and having even a 5-minute conversation on the phone with a friend. It could be taking a walk. It could be dancing around your apartment. I don't know what it is, but take, you know, at least, even if like everything is all up in the air and everything in your life is just totally flipped upside down, it's so important that we find and make time to do something that will ground us and hold us in place for, you know, and kind of remind us that there is life outside of the situation that we're going through, that even though it may be hard and dark at this present moment, and it could be very dark, you know, there's still some sort of like normal aspect to life. Like it's not all, you know, doom and gloom forever everywhere, even though it may feel like it. So it also gives you, if you plan something normal, even if it's something, like I said, is small, that gives you something to look forward to for the week. So if you know that on it's Monday and you're feeling, you know, really sad, really angry, really frustrated with your situation, and probably rightfully so, right? But if you make a plan to do something on Wednesday that is a little bit more normal, is a little bit more along the lines of something that would make you happy, that you would enjoy doing, then you have something that you can start to shift your attention to. So I'm not talking about like stuffing and throwing away your emotions, but it gives you something else that will kind of ground you and help you to just, you know, have something to look forward to, and not make the event that has flipped your life upside down or moved you sideways. It won't be able to take over and swallow up everything, right? The next thing is number 4. My tip number 4 is reaching out to other people. So it's okay to ask for help. This is something that I've been learning a lot lately. So it started this summer when I fractured my wrist. And there were things that I couldn't do. And, you know, I had to reach out to people here and there and ask them for help with different things. And it was okay. And honestly, people, I've found out, are usually very happy to help you because, you know, they themselves have had something that, has gone off in their life, and now, and they're able to, hey Larry, they're able to, sort of like pay it forward by helping you out. And a lot of times people really do understand, what you're going through, even if they haven't gone through that particular situation. They may be willing to help you in whatever it is that you need help with. All right. And also, suffering alone, when you're just suffering alone in silence, it makes you feel really isolated. It makes you feel like you're different, like, things are happening everywhere else in the world, and you're just kind of like in this dark, lonely space all by yourself. And having a connection, reaching out to other people, helps you to not feel so alone in your situation. And it's just good, right? We're not meant to be isolated. As people, we need each other. We're meant to help each other. We're meant to have relationships. And part of having a relationship with a friend or family member, or even, an acquaintance, sometimes the help that we get in life is not from the closest people to us. It's sometimes someone who we may only know as an acquaintance, we may know only as a little bit, but maybe they're willing to make a phone call to help you get a job, or to help you find a place to live, or whatever it happens to be, right? So, a lot of times the people who you even least expect will help you and be willing to help you. So it's nice to know that, when you're going through something, that you're not alone, right? There are people who are on your side that are cheering you on and, are willing to encourage you. And my last thing is number 5, and this is absolutely crucial, is that you want to, as you're going through it, maybe not as you're going through it, right? Especially like in the actual moment of crisis. But once you start to come out of that crisis or that traumatic event, what you want to do is you want to make sure that your identity is intact, because when things kind of sideswipe us, we can have the tendency to take on a new identity that's maybe not meant for us to have. So, it depends on what it is again, but say a relationship that became abusive, right? And that person put you down, right? So you could get out of it, right? You could get out of that that crisis or that moment where, that person even maybe physically threatened your life, right? So you got away, you broke free, that moment in your life is past, right? You're safe. But what has that done to your identity? So a lot of times events that, crisis, it could be even like a health diagnosis. Hey, Pavlaki, how are you? That life crisis that you've gone through, it can, no matter even how hard or how strong you think you are, it can affect your identity. It can cause us to feel like we, aren't good enough, or that something is wrong with us. And so we want to heal our identity. We really want to work on our identities. Even in advance, to be honest, we should be working on who we are. Like, who are you without your job? Who are you without your children, if you have children? Who are you without your spouse, if you're married? If you're single, who are you? Who would you be if you were with someone, right? Who are you without your business, right? All these things, right? A lot of times our identity is wrapped up in like how much we make, or what we do for work, or who we are with or who we are not with. So many things, right? It could be, our identity could be wrapped up in our education, our degrees. You have a doctorate, so now you have but who are you without all of those things? At your core, who are you as a human? And when we know who we are as a human being, like when we know who we are, then what we can do is when these things happen in our life, say our job is gone, say something happens financially, there's some sort of financial disaster, say our health gets wiped away, God forbid. Health is wealth, so that's the last thing we want to lose. But say you end up, oh boy, my Facebook Live just ended. I think the signal has not been good. So say I just lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, guys. Say you were married and now you're divorced, or say you're single and then you get married, right? Either one of all of those are major life shifts. Who are you? So that when you get into a relationship, or you leave a relationship, or you lose a job, or something goes wrong with your finances, or whatever it happens to be, you still know who you are, and you're not on this roller coaster going up and down and all around based on whatever the situation is, right? We need to be able to have clear boundaries, knowing I am, who you are, right? And so that when someone tells you something that's contrary, or something happens in your life that is contrary to who you know you are, for example, if I say I am a loving person, right? Then if someone does something to me, like really bad, really traumatic, for example, in my life, right? It was rape. Who was I after rape, right? What I realized was my identity was not really that strong, not strong like I thought it was. And I had to heal my identity. I had to redefine my identity, because for a time that was making me act a little crazy. It was sending me on this roller coaster, and of different thoughts going through my mind, different emotions going through my heart, that were leading to other bad ideas. So it's so important that we have strong identities, that we have healthy identities, that we know who we are without all of these things. Who are you without your parents? We have to define that. I guess I came up with that. That just popped into my head because my parents are older, right? So at some point, I will not be my parents' daughter. I will be my parents' daughter, right? But they won't be here, right? That would be an identity shift. So, it's important that we have these identities very healthy and very strong, so that when life comes at us, it's not going to be perfect, right? We're still going to feel the emotions of fear. We're still going to feel the emotions of anger. We're still going to feel the emotions of sadness. We're still going to feel joy. We're still going to feel all sorts of different emotions. But it won't just like knock us off our feet and set us back 10 years or 20 years. We'll be able to stay, in a stable mind, in a stable emotional state for the most part, without, having a complete breakdown that really, adds to the issue that we're going through. So this is something that I can help you with if you are interested in that. I do work with people on healing their identities, really, really redefining their identities, figuring out and sorting through who you are without, all of the fluff and frills that a lot of times we add onto our resumes, so to speak, because it's very important that we have a knowledge and we're grounded, so that we can withstand whatever does come our way, especially in these times. Like I said at the beginning, life is lifing all over the place, all you have to do is look at the news for even 3 minutes. So it's so important that we prepare ourselves, that we get ourselves ready, that we stay strong, so that the world doesn't dictate to us who we are. Other people don't dictate to us who we are, but we know very clearly who we are, and then we can stay the course. And that also helps us even with the, steps 1 through 4 that I spoke about at the beginning. So reach out to me if you would like support with, healing and redefining your identity. I'd be happy to chat with you. And that was all I wanted to share for this Monday evening. Did anyone have any questions about anything I shared? Any thoughts? I like keeping these videos short and sweet because I know we all have a lot to do. So, like giving the information in a way that helps people get it and then still be able to get everything else they need to accomplished for the evening. All right. So since no one had any thoughts they wanted to share, that's okay. I'm going to end this video. I wish you guys a wonderful rest of your week. Happy Monday again. Enjoy. Peace.